To those of you who were first, we salute you. Thanks for joining me today. And today I wanted to talk about sort of the fallacy, I guess you could say, of completely just focusing on spot prices and premiums of different types of silver, and why, for me, I'm finding the best value right now in just stacking constitutional silver. Buckle up, let's get into it. Today's markets closed in another upward momentum. Gold closing at $4,080. Silver closing at $51.32. Platinum closing at $1,543. And palladium closing at $1,371. As I said today, I just wanted to talk about the idea of constitutional silver being sort of what I believe right now for me and my stacking goals to be the best bang for my buck and value out there. Whether I'm shopping online or at the local coin shop, I'm seeing that in both places, I am typically able to get this 90% junk constitutional silver for under spot or at spot deals. And for me, again, just trying to stack weight. And I've become really a big fan of constitutional silver, if you can't tell. All of this was a recent purchase because I used to be pretty much solely stacking rounds and bars, because at the time I was very focused on this idea that I had to be getting the best possible lowest premium. And it got me thinking over time, as I started moving into some of these different items, that I may have been focused on the wrong things. Do I think constitutional silver is going to demand a higher premium or going to recover to being a positive premium? No, not really. But I also don't care, because I'm buying it for me, for weight, and also becoming to be part of this as enjoyment of stacking these coins. You all know that I've got my Franklin $half book that I'm working on, so I can kind of do double down effects here. I can increase my stack while getting new coins in and trying to get better versions of the items that I've got currently in my collection of my Franklin $half book that I'm trying to complete, 1948 to 1963. I've been just researching about proofs. I went recently and visited the Philadelphia Mint, which was an absolute wonderful time. And I picked up this, little guidebook. We can go through that. I've got some great photos and images of myself visiting the Mint. In fact, I even took one of these Franklin $half to visit the Philadelphia Mint where it was minted in Philadelphia. I took it to Benjamin Franklin's grave and Constitutional Avenue and checked out the Liberty Bell. And for me, that was just kind of an experience to get to kind of appreciate and understand the minting of these coins and the care and thought that went into their design and their purpose back when they were in circulation. I also recently watched a video where they were talking about how constitutional silver, that there was some belief that about only 25% of all of the coins that were minted for circulation still exist in the United States today due to just loss or remelt from the mints, melting them into new circulated coins, or even the release of the ability to be able to legally melt these down. So the refineries are melting down 90% silver as well and turning them into basically 1,000-ounce bars. And it made me think about that. I was like, well, if I can choose a type of metal to collect, and I'm not concerned because I'm in sort of what you would call the accumulation phase of my stack, I'm just trying to increase the weight and increase the amount of metals that I have, then should I really be concerned about the premiums that I'm paying if I'm still stacking? I'm going to be stacking if it's $4,000 an ounce of gold. I'm going to be stacking if it's $52 an ounce of silver, just like I would be stacking if it were 2,000 ounce per gold, and if it were, $25 per ounce of silver, or even $15 an ounce of silver when I first got started doing this. The other thing I was thinking about is while I was in Philadelphia, I found myself going out to eat for lunch and dinner for about 4 days. And the cost of all those meals essentially more than broke any premium that I would have paid. For instance, this Silver Eagle that I picked up at the Mint cost me $40 per ounce over spot price to have this uncirculated American Silver Eagle proof. Now, if this is my only item that I'm stacking, this probably would seem foolish in terms of an investment idea of trying to accumulate wealth and not waste my money when I could have picked up, 2 ounces of a different type of silver. That would make sense. But this is just something for me as a memorial token from my trip to Philadelphia visiting the mint. But then I also was considering the fact that every one of my meals was over $40. And those contributed nothing to my stack. They just contributed to my memories and my enjoyment of my trip. But if I were to take all of those meals, I could have covered the additional premiums on hundreds of ounces of American Silver Eagles uncirculated. Now, I guess, does it matter at the end of the day? Does it really matter if I'm paying a little bit more above spot or a little bit below spot for these things? Because the spot price is going to ebb and flow. And because I am in the accumulation phase, I'm not in the distribution phase of needing my wealth for, my monthly expenses or for, retirement trips or whatever it is, expansions onto the home. Because I'm not looking to liquidate it at any time soon, I do believe there will be a market for all types of silver in the future, especially when the refineries get caught back up, when London gets its 1,000-ounce bars and we're now fully caught up on the demand, and the demand comes down a little bit and the supply starts to increase a little bit, and the refiners have more time to take the additional time to refine 90% or 40% even into other things, or sterling silver and 925s into more pure forms of silver. Then at that point, maybe this will be the same. It would all be relative and it won't matter. I don't know how you feel about it. That's just what I've been thinking about, is that I really do enjoy constitutional silver now. I've got 1 dime, by the way. And yes, that truly is the only dime in my entire stack. I know that it's good for divisibility and for barter and trade potentially in the future. But really, I am a big fan of dollar and half dollar. The only reason I have quarters is because I bought sort of like a blind bag thing of constitutional silver where they were going to give you quarters or dimes, and they gave me all quarters, and I just happened to find this dime in pocket change one day, and so I threw it into the stack because it is 90% as well. So I'm just having fun. Like I'm just enjoying this journey. I'm using these different types of 90% silver to learn about our history as a nation, the care and the responsibility that the mint took to create these beautiful pieces of silver that we can now throw into our own collections and stacks, and not only sort of stop the melt, but more important than stop the melt is preserve the history and the provenance of these items. And I don't know. I think the best way for me to do it, and the best way I found to do it, is to fill out these books and try to find different dates and different mintages and find the proofs and search online, and to take the time to read the red book and read the individual books on these different coins and become sort of a, numismatist. Is that what numismatist? I don't even know how to say it. Numismatic? I don't know. But you get what I'm trying to say. Just start to learn the history and appreciation, like I've said a couple times here. Not trying to repeat myself, but I think that that's important, because we can get caught up in value town, right? We can just get caught up in this idea that everything I'm putting into this is an investment, and if it doesn't have the potential to increase in value, then I shouldn't buy it. I should only buy items that potentially could make me look like a hero to my friends and family as the valuation of my stack increases. Well, you know what? I don't know if it's kosher to say this on a silver YouTube channel, but I personally wish silver and gold would fall back 50% of where they are. I wish gold was 2,000 or less, and I wish silver was back down to 25, because you know what the difference is? It's rather than buying, say, $10 of face value of 90% at a time, I'd probably be buying $50 at a time. Instead of buying 0.12 or 10th ounce gold coins, I'd be buying quarter ounce or even maybe half ounce. If it got down to back to where it was 3 years ago, I'd probably be buying full ounce gold coins and buying 100 ounces of constitutional and or rounds or bars at the same time. And it just, I don't know. I don't think that we need to stay so focused on finding the absolute best bang for a buck. I think we need to just circle back, think about why you're stacking, think about what joy do you get from the pieces that you're stacking. Even if you're stacking holiday rounds or special Perth Mint rounds that come out once a year that have a higher premium, if they're bringing you joy and they're also adding to your overall weight of your stack, in my opinion, in Silver Dragoon's opinion, you're doing it the right way. Anyway, thanks very much for just listening to me ramble about why I think constitutional silver is my best value right now. Because for me, if I can just pick up some stuff that I can both enjoy and collect and learn about the history, all while increasing my stack, that's a triple win in my book, and it just gives me something to hold and enjoy and appreciate. And that's really all I've got. So thank you so much for just clicking on this video. Make sure if you get the chance, I know you're leaned back in your recliner, your feet up on the coffee table, and you're just enjoying this little channel in the background. But if you could take a moment to just sit up and press that like button and subscribe button if you haven't already. We're just here, just a guy like you, trying to learn about this and stack as much as we can and enjoy the process. Till next time, Dragoon out.